Hello, sir.
Hello?
Can you please come to the doctor's office? She wants to have a word with you.
Okay. I'll be right back.
So, we run a series of tests on your wife and we have discovered she has liver cancer.
Oh no. Will she make it?
I am sorry to say that the disease is too far gone and there is nothing we can do for her anymore. We found a high dose of aflatoxins in her body and we believe that that is a big contributing factor to the disease.
What is aflatoxin?
Aflatoxins are naturally occurring toxins produced by a variety of naturally occurring fungi in the soil, decaying vegetation, hay, and grains. The fungi are common and widespread in nature, and under certain circumstances favorable to their development, foods and feed are contaminated with aflatoxin. The Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO, estimates that a quarter of the world's food crops are affected by aflatoxins each year. They are regularly found in improperly dried and stored staple commodities, including granules, maize, rice, amongst others. Because of Africa's position in relation to the equator, favorable to the development of the fungus responsible for aflatoxin contamination, exposure to the unsafe levels of aflatoxins occur across much of Africa, and the Gambia is no exception due to its position as part of the Sahel. Long-term exposure of low to moderate levels of aflatoxins through the consumption of contaminated food and also occupational exposure, for example, by flour mill workers, can cause liver cancer, growth retardation in children, immune suppression, and consequently susceptible to infectious diseases such as malaria and HIV. Evidence suggests that chronic exposure to aflatoxins may also lead to reduced uptake of nutrients from the diet by animals. The prevalence of aflatoxins is exacerbated by drought, pest, delayed harvest, insufficient drying, and poor post-harvest handling. To prevent aflatoxins contaminating your crops, there are several measures you can take. Containers to be used for collecting and transporting the harvested crops should be clean, dry, and free of insects and visible fungal growth before use and reuse. Consignment of crops should be protected from all additional moisture by using covered or airtight containers or tarpaulins. Avoid temperature fluctuations that may cause condensation to form on the crops. Avoid insect, bird, and rodent infestation during storage by the use of insect and rodent-proof containers and/or repellent chemical treatments. You can get advice from your closest agricultural extension officers and plant protection services as to the safest ones to use. The continued cultivation of the same crop on the same land may lead to the increase in the probability of aflatoxin contamination. Irrigation to ensure Adequate soil moisture during the last 4 to 6 weeks of crop growth should minimize pre-harvest aflatoxin contamination of the crops. Apply adequate fertilizer, manure to enhance plant vigor. No-till practices may be required in the interest of soil conservation. The seed variety can be important, and therefore, before planting, farmers should consult with the agricultural regional offices who have extension officers for advice. Care should be taken during cultivation to avoid damage to pegs and pods. A cultivar should be selected that is suitable for a particular growing season and mature at the end of the rainy season, so that post-harvest field drying can be done under favorable conditions. Plant early duration varieties to escape drought. AflaSafe is a safe natural solution to the problem of aflatoxins. Speak to your agricultural extension workers about this. Apply insecticide to control insects. Avoid overcrowding of plants by maintaining the recommended row of intra-plant spacing for the species or variety grown, bearing in mind that too high a population may lead to drought stress, where rainfall may be below the optimum required in a growing season. Select seeds to remove molded and shriveled ones before planting. Use effective weed control by use of registered herbicides. Contact plant protection services for advice. Ensure that bags are clean, dry, and stacked on pallets, or incorporate a water impermeable layer between bags and the floor. Leave a working space between the bags and the wall to facilitate monitoring. Store at the lowest temperature possible, consistent with ambient conditions. Visually check crops for evidence of mold growth. Separate the apparent infected portions of the crops and send samples for analysis if possible. When separated, lower the temperature in the remaining crops and aerate. Fumigate the store before storage. Care should be taken to select all those chemicals that will not affect or cause harm to the crops. Contact Plant Protection Services for advice. The agricultural regional offices, the extension officers can advise you on the appropriate varieties you should use. Remember, early stage aflatoxins are invisible to the naked eye, so make sure you seek advice from your agricultural research center before planting your seeds, and also contact them if you have any concerns at any stage of the growing cycle.
It is too late for your wife, but you can protect yourself and your children by preventing the presence of aflatoxins in your livestock, your crops, and in the food you eat. For example, the groundnuts you use for dege and no-fly, and the maize flour you buy in the markets.
But doctor, how do we monitor all that too?
Well, it's up to you and other citizens to lobby your members of parliament to ensure that the Gambian standards of quality are practiced, upheld, and maintained by all crop producers. The regulatory bodies in the Gambia have to be far more proactive if we are to save lives and prevent unnecessary illnesses like that of your wife.
If only I had known I would have done this sooner to prevent this trouble that has befallen me and my family. I'll certainly take these preventive measures to protect myself and my precious children. I'll bring all the farmers together to put pressure on the regulative body, our MP and the government, to take the issue of aflatoxin more seriously and save lives by ensuring the right standard for production and the storage of our crops are maintained.
Good. We can start by running tests on all of you.
Okay.